But we start, as we always do, in National One, where we begin November with just two teams still unbeaten in the shape of Rams and Richmond. And we said before round eight that a trip to Plymouth Albion might have acted as a litmus test for league leaders Rams, and they were certainly tested last time out at Brickfield. Seb Reynolds' troops produced some huge defensive sets to keep Plymouth out, whilst also showing a clinical edge to make it 8 wins from 8 after securing a 21-16 victory down in Devon. As for second place Richmond, they've won 7 of their first 8 games, and their quality needed to shine through again last time out against Bishop Stortford. Bishop Stortford yet again causing problems for a side in the top 3, but after a quick start from Stortford, Richmond eventually wrestled the game back in their favour to record a 43-31 win. And so the top two sides will be looking to continue their really, really strong starts to the season in November. And something fun before we take a look at the table in National One, following their 36-24 win away at Sedgley Park in round 8, some of Blackheath's players bumped into a familiar face on their way back to London in the form of Oasis's Noel Gallagher. Blackheath was certainly rock and roll mauling stars last time out. Their power up front sealing a 5th win of this season. Yeah, that pun isn't my best work, and there's certainly room for improvements on that front. But anyway, let's just have a quick look at the National One table heading into this weekend, where confirmation that Rams and Richmond are still yet to taste defeat, with Blackheath moving into the top 5 last time out. Down at the other end, Darlington Moden Park remain at the bottom, but once again, they were in the contest against ninth place Dings in round 8, only to see the Crusaders pull away from them in the last 10 minutes. So they are still searching for their first win, but that winning feeling hasn't evaded 4th place Rosslyn Park too much this season. After 3 defeats to actually begin the campaign, Kieran Power's side resumed the season on a 5-match winning run, which will take into this Friday evening's clash with Bishop Stortford. Now, Park are one of our featured clubs this week on the National League Rugby Preview Show, and it is a squad stacked with talent and also stacked with experience, with quite a few of their players having played higher up the English rugby pyramid. So we chatted to Captain Arthur Ellis, who once upon a time was at Wasps and Ealing, as well as back row duo Jack Digby, who was at Doncaster Knights in the Championship last season, and Archie Hosking, who used to be in the Exeter Chiefs system, to find out what makes Rosslyn Park and National One such an attractive proposition for a player. Plus, we discussed the season so far for Park and also the experience of playing under the Friday night lights at the Rock.
Yeah, we didn't really hit the ground running like we wanted to. I think we did have quite a pretty tough start. Rotherham away, newly promoted team, and they probably do belong in this league or even above, they'll say. So yeah, they were awesome. They fully deserved their victory. And then yeah, it's a bit of a shame to lose 2 close local derbies. Richmond was a bit of a dagger in the heart, last minute drop goal. I wish England had had that on Saturday, but yeah, no, it was pretty classy from the fly off to win that one. So yeah, I mean, look, didn't start how we wanted it, but we bounced back pretty well. Yeah, like you said, to win 5 in a row is yeah, things are all going in the right direction.
From where we are and we finished that block, I think we're pretty happy. We're always sort of trying to improve, and obviously an 0-3 start is not really what you want for any team, especially with what the sort of the vibe around the group with preseason and how we were sort of tracking. But I know there's a big maybe a stereotype around Rosslyn Park that we want to throw the ball around and to the detriment of all else. And yes, that's we definitely do. We want to play to our strengths. We have an amazing back line. We have really mobile pack, and we want to move the ball around, especially on home at 4G. But I think finding ways to win ugly and win boring have been really important for us. And yes, you want to have an identity. Yes, you can't lose sight of that identity. But then different teams pose different challenges and different conditions. I know we're getting into the less fun weather-wise conditions, especially as an Australian. But that's where you have to win ugly. You have to make sure that your basics and what you do well is really important.
Yeah, and you mentioned it there, Jack. Obviously, and people listening to you can probably tell by your accent that you are from Australia, and you've obviously played a bit of rugby over there, as I mentioned before. You were in the championship. So, what kind of drew you to Rosslyn Park, a national one? Because it certainly isn't the weather that we're getting at the moment.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think I was getting to a point in my career. I think the championships are a pretty unforgiving league at times. And looking to not getting any younger and looking at other options of moving about and still really enjoying my rugby. So I think you can lose sight of why you play a little bit when it becomes your job, when it becomes a very sort of insular type environment. So having a bit of perspective and having a bit of you play because you love it. So a couple of friends that I played with at Ealing who've sort of thrived at Park, and from pretty much the first 2-3 weeks of training, everyone was really really warm and welcoming to me, and it's sort of it's a bit of it is a family.
Whilst as Exeter managed to kind of play a couple games in the Chiefs setup, just in the Prem Cup, so it's pretty fortunate to do that, and kind of I guess afterwards looking for opportunities. So actually ended up going to Australia last year. But no, I've known quite a few of the guys at Rosslyn Park for a few years. My brother was down here as well, so a few of his mates are down. So kind of coming back to London was kind of only logical step really. And like I said, we've obviously got an amazing group, and everyone's really cohesive, like socially. So I think you can get lost in the weeds a little bit, kind of jump around, like you said, but definitely when you go to a club where the community and like the social aspect is really strong, then it's like it makes it a lot easier to stay and want to stick around. So yeah, no, definitely loving playing every week, and it's a great club to be a part of.
National one is, it's part-time, it's not professional. And I think a lot of players get caught up in that professional level, and then the pressure is really on them. And I think Rosslyn Park's a great place where, you see a lot of really good players who might have struggled, or had a tough year in the league above. They come here, they get the kind of shackles taken off them. They can enjoy themselves a little bit more. They feel a bit freer. That constant pressure of professional rugby when it's actually your kind of livelihood can be pretty tough on some people. So yeah, I mean, I think Rosslyn Park's a great stepping stone. We are pretty close to the city. There's quite a few boys that work in the city. I think we give a good halfway house of seriously good competitive rugby, and also, yeah, you can get a decent job and work hard at the same time. We are a really tight knit group, and that's a lot down to kind of the coaches and Kieran Powers in particular. It's something that he drives all the time. We want to get around each other. We want to be with each other, and enjoying ourselves as much as possible. And like you say, at the end of the day, it's a really big commitment. And if you're not enjoying that commitment, then what's the point in doing it? So that's something that is really driven, especially by Powers. And yeah, we really do try and stay together and enjoy it as much as possible.
Yeah, and I forgot to ask you this, Arthur, before we hit record. So if this is wrong, do pick me up on it. But I was speaking to
Okay.
Josh on Friday, and we talked about the commitment to the club. But he said that you'd flown back from Portugal, if that's right, for the Leicester Lions game.
Yeah, I had a bit of
That's
a
serious
nightmare.
commitment. That is commitment.
Yeah, I had a bit of a nightmare. I was in Portugal on a very tough work golf trip. But then, yeah, my flight got cancelled on the Friday night, so had to book another one on the Saturday morning. And then that got delayed. So yeah, landed at Gatwick, had to go get my car and then drive straight to Leicester and missed the first 20 minutes. But yeah, did come on eventually, so it wasn't the end of the world. But yeah, we got the win, so it made it all worth it.
I mean, that is the love for the club right there, Arthur.
Yeah, well, yeah, got to try.
Gotta try. And just in terms of this Friday night against Bishop Stortford, and you've been at the club for a number of years, Arthur. Friday night games, do they hit differently with you guys as players? And you said there, everyone's got the commitments during the week, but when it gets to maybe Friday lunchtime, is it all focus going into a Friday night, especially when you're at home as well?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, firstly, thank you for Bishop Stortford agreeing to do it on a Friday night, because that's a bit of trouble for some of those boys. Some of them might be having to take half days. But I mean, yeah, look, I think at Rosslyn, we always try and ask other teams for Friday night games. We love them, I think a lot of fans love them. You get a lot of mates down there watching it on a Friday night. It's a great atmosphere. Hopefully, it'll be nice weather. Hopefully, it'll be a great game. And yeah, look, we all do love playing in them, and it sets the weekend off right.
the crowd that gets down on a Friday night is we had a pre-season against Barnes on a Friday night, and that was pretty exciting. It's pretty special. So I think we've definitely been we've been really trying to push for more people to come in and see the brand of rugby that we're playing, because it's an exciting and really, really fun to watch style. So I think we'll have a good outcome, or hopefully have a good outcome on Friday. And then I think the more people that see that on Friday night just makes it all the better product for the National League and for Rosslyn Park.
But luckily, I'll be able to work from home on Friday, so won't be too tired. And then the club's pretty local to me, so yeah, definitely. I've been looking forward to it all week really. And then even the week before when we had the week off, it's definitely like a fixture throughout the season that you're eyeing up and looking for.
Yeah, and obviously you said there is obviously going to be a great occasion, but Bishop Stortford are no mugs, are they, Archie? They've played some really big teams in the last sort of 3 rounds. I think the top 3 sides have actually played, gave Richmond and Rams a hard time. They beat Rotherham away from home. So I guess, the talk so far this week within the group is you're not going to be taking them lightly, are you?
No, definitely not. I mean, definitely when you play them away right there, they've always been a tough side. So I think I played them away last year and it was a big scrap. So hopefully kind of on our surface it suits us a little bit more. We can kind of just play our own game, and we're really kind of looking to execute maybe similar attack wise as we did with Dings. So we'll have to take them seriously for sure, but definitely focusing on ourselves and what we can do.
Rotherham away, Rams and Richmond, they are and probably us are now, I'd say, the 4 hardest fixtures in the league, especially when you're playing at their places, and come away with really good results there, and even a win is we're definitely not taking them for granted and underestimating them, because, like you said, it's still early enough in the season that things can start building, and they've got a little bit of a roll on. We've got a little bit of momentum, so it'll be really interesting to see how we go.
So a big thanks to Arthur, Jack and Archie for their time there. A formidable back row trio for Rosslyn Park this season, and they'll be keen for that to continue on Friday night against Bishop Stortford. And the club have promoted this game on Friday exceptionally well across their social media channels and on their website. So if you do fancy kicking off your rugby weekend at the Rock, do visit the link below for tickets, and there is also the pre-match dinner offering before the game as well. A link to that is in the description of the video. So if you are interested in making it a proper evening out of the rugby, you can definitely have a look into that pre-match dinner. And of course, you can also buy a ticket for the game if you are that way inclined. It should be an ideal way to begin your weekend. And there is also another Friday night game in National 1 with Richmond hosting 7th place Birmingham Moseley. It was a tough October for the visitors, just 1 win in the last 4, and their tricky run of fixtures against sides towards the top of the table continues in round 9. On to Saturday then, where there are just 5 games in National 1, and we stay in the capital with Blackheath hosting a Sale FC side who entered a month on the back of successive wins against Darlington, Moden Park and Esher, and it does feel like a big afternoon for Darlington Moden Park themselves on Saturday. The division's bottom club welcomed 12th place Leicester Lions to the North East. The away side have picked up just 1 win so far this term, and both clubs continue to show bagfuls of character during the course of the season, but who will come out on top in round 9? Should be a big game, that one, actually, at Darlington Moden Park. Esher, who sits second from bottom at the moment, may well have an eye on that DMP versus Leicester Lions clash. Peter Winterbottom's side travel to Leicester Lions next week, but first up they'll be fully focused on welcoming Dings Crusaders to Molesey Road. League leaders Rams have some very interesting fixtures to come against possible title rivals between now and Christmas, but they will be fully switched on. Their attention will be firmly on making it 9 from 9 when 11th place Sedgley Park visit Old Bath Road on Saturday. And we finish with Rotherham Titans versus Plymouth Albion. The Titans will be delighted with their first portion of the season, as they currently occupy 3rd spot in the standings, while Albion have the tools to be a top 4 side. And victory at Clifton Lane in the first meeting between the teams for nearly 5 years would certainly spark their campaign back into life after suffering back-to-back defeats at the end of October.